Welcome back. Well, these days we are all more food conscious and we're being selective on what goes into our bodies, and it's much more important than ever before. And that's why we're joined by Chef Nate Weir from ModMarket, whose new restaurant concept will have DFW eating healthier food for a great price. Now, you've got your first location out in Flower Mound.
Yeah, we just opened in Flower Mound, and we'll have 2 more locations opening by the end of the year, one in Plano and then one in Preston Hollow. So getting a little closer.
You're getting closer to
Dallas.
me. Okay.
Yep. So.
But your concept is so fantastic. It's very simple. Good food at a great price.
Yeah, we try to do a really ingredient-driven menu. So we respect the ingredients. We try not to overwork them. And then we just want to cook simply, seasonally, with ingredients that are going to taste really fresh. And it's easy to do that when you're working with well-sourced, good ingredients.
Yeah, and you know, it's interesting. I think a lot of people say that about the DFW area, that the sourcing is so good here because we have so many local farmers and local ingredients that you can use.
Absolutely, and we think eating locally is a great thing to do. And we think making food for yourself is the best thing to do if you can. It's easy to avoid processed foods and stuff like that when you're cooking at home, but not everybody has the time to do that all the time. So what ModMarket is about is taking those same kind of techniques, something you might be able to make at the house for yourself, but we're going to make it for you. We're going to save you that time. We're going to get you in and out the door pretty quick in less than 10 minutes most of the time for all our food, but literally everything made from scratch, from our pizza dough all the way to like the greens we cut and the veggies that we roast, and everything's done in the restaurant.
I'm already a fan. Okay, what are we making today?
Well, so we're going to do something a little different today, something that's going to be really fun and delicious for the season. We're going to focus on beets. Great ingredient, but I think people are kind of intimidated by, what do you even do with a beet? You know, do you just roast it and then, then what happens?
Because they are difficult to cook. I think they're not difficult to cook, but because I'm not used to doing it, I think
Sure, the recipe always says to wrap them in foil and then you got to throw them all in the oven individually. How do you know when they're done? Well, I have a much simpler way to do that today. So really we're just going to start with a whole beet, and I'm not even going to peel this or anything since we're using organic beets. These are going to be good to go, and actually leaving the skin on is going to be a little good for it. So all we're going to do is we're just going to dice it really quick, and by cutting it ahead of time, we're going to accomplish a couple things. So one, we're going to take all the guesswork out of the roasting process. It doesn't matter how big our beets are, if one's larger than the other. It's not going to really be an issue for us because we're going to cut them all up ahead of time. We're going to know right when they're cooked because we're going to be able to just check them in the oven and see when they're tender. And it's a great chance to practice your knife skills, too.
Well, I was going to say, it's sure slicing easily, so I think you have to have a really good knife to get through them that easily.
Well, they have a nice moist texture to them when they're still ripe like this, when they're raw. So it actually slices pretty easily. So this knife is pretty sharp, but I think you'd be okay with really any knife you have at home. And look at that beautiful, vibrant color.
They're so pretty.
And they kind of stain your fingers a little less, too, when you're cutting them raw like this.
So packed with nutrition,
yeah, and if you can get different color beets, too, like I brought along some golden beets today. Not everybody's seen these, too, but there's actually some different chemical compounds in the golden beets, a little different than the red beets, that are also going to be really delicious for you. So all we're going to do, now that we've just diced our beets up, I'm just going to, pardon me, I'm swinging my knife around here. Yeah. So we're just going to throw it in a roasting dish, and you're going to preheat your oven to 375 degrees. And we're going to bake these for just about half an hour. Stir them once about halfway through. And you'll be able to see as they roast, they're going to start to get some color development. You're going to see the sugars that are in the beet come out. So we're just going to add a little bit of olive oil, a little sprinkle of salt, and a little bit of cracked pepper. And then we just roast those for, again, about a half an hour at 375 degrees. Really easy. And maybe a shake partway through just to stir them up a little bit. Okay? So once we've got that done, we're going to end up with these beautiful roasted beets. And they're all going to be little caramelized.
They look like little currants or something.
They do a little bit. The color kind of changes. But since it's roasting, it's a really healthy way to prepare a vegetable. We've left a lot of the nutrients in it.
I'm telling you right now, if you don't like beets, that tastes like, this is something I think kids would eat instead of like gummy bears or something. Sure. They have like a sweetness to them.
The natural sweetness comes out of it. Yep, and you can make as much or as little as you want. Again, it doesn't matter what size beets you have. But now this is where we're really going to get interesting with
it. And they really don't have that traditional like dirt flavor that beets have. You know, they have that very earthy flavor. When you roast them like this, they're like little pieces of candy. It's so good.
There's so much sweetness in them naturally, right? So we kept that really simple, but you got a little bit of that earthiness. So, well, here's where we're really getting crazy. So it's Dallas, so we got to do salsa, right?
Of course.
So this is where we're going to get a little bit interesting. So we've got our roasted beets, and we're just going to add some of our basic salsa ingredients. So we've got a little bit of green onion. Actually, do you want to do this? Why don't you go for it here? We got some jalapeno. I like it spicy. If you don't, we can add a little bit, or we could add more of it. Or if you want to make a mild salsa, we could just substitute green pepper instead of the jalapeno for the same effect. And then a little cilantro.
I like
Beautiful.
cilantro.
I love cilantro, absolutely. a little bit more of our olive oil.
Okay.
And then here's the finishing touch. We really want this to be nice and fresh. So we're going to use some fresh citrus to finish it off. So we're going to do a fresh squeeze of lime juice, and we'll do a fresh squeeze of some orange juice as well. Give us that great citrus flavor there.
Oh, this is so
beautiful,
fresh.
Right? And how about those colors?
Beautiful.
Looks really fantastic. So this would be great with, you know, just tortilla chips as a snack, a little appetizer. But you can actually fancy this up a little bit more. So for instance, I would love to serve this with like some grilled steak.
I would love for you to serve it to me just like that.
Exactly. So why don't you go ahead and plate, let's see the plating skills right on top.
Can I just like this?
Beautiful.
Okay.
It's just going to look good no matter what you do. Isn't that great?
This is just so beautiful. I cannot wait to come try the menu, everything on the menu.
Well, you're going to love it. And even, you know, stuff like our steak, it's all hormone and antibiotic free, true never ever steak. Fantastic.
Thank you for opening a place like this.
Yeah.
Thank you, thank you. Okay, eating on the go doesn't have to be poor quality food, obviously. ModMarket has affordable, healthy options that are now available in DFW. So to get more info about today's segment, I promise you this is a recipe that you want. Just go to thebroadcasttv.com. And where in Flower Mound are y'all?
We're on Justin Road and right by the mall.
Okay, I'm going to take a bite of this as we go to break. We're going to be right back.